All right. We back, man. All right, so this time doing a video. It said Jay-Z makes shocking move in P. Diddy rape case. And P. Diddy case or your case? Like, I know y'all got a case together, so is it like the or you helping him out? I don't know, that's interesting. I would love Jay-Z to assist Diddy some kind of way. Like at least be there for him. I hate how this world works where somebody get in trouble, you gotta distance yourself so you don't get in trouble too. But it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna check this out, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm about to play the sponsor. We're gonna get into it. This Valentine's Day, make your love unforgettable with giftsforyounow.com. The place for custom gifts that speak from the heart. From personalized keepsakes to heartfelt treasures, they've got something special for every love story. Whether it's from your soulmate, your best friend, or your family, show them how much they mean with a gift as unique as they are. This Valentine's Day, let love shine through every detail. Start creating your perfect gift today at giftsforyounow.com. Click the link in the description for more detail. All right, man, hit that link. I'm gonna hit this button, man. Let's get it.
It's a big week for Jay-Z. His Rock Nation is geared up to produce the most watched live performance of the year, the Super Bowl halftime show. And of course, he was there to cheer on his wife, who took home know who the Texas-based attorney is. You know, the same one who said that he had more than 100 accusers ready to file lawsuits against Diddy.
After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
And of course, we know later that Jane Doe, who is being represented by the Texas attorney, filed a suit a couple weeks after this press conference accusing Diddy of raping her when she was just 13 years old. Then amended that complaint weeks later, adding Jay-Z, Sean Carter's name to that child rape lawsuit alongside Diddy. A female celebrity was also mentioned in that complaint as well. However, her identity has since remained a mystery. Since that happened, first, let me say both Sean Combs and Sean Carter have denied those accusations. Diddy's team said, quote, "In court, the truth will prevail, that Mr. Combs never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor." Meanwhile, Jay-Z made a calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. Now that statement went on to call Tony Buzbee a deplorable human, a man with no valor, and an ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. Now, while Diddy sits in a jail cell awaiting trial, by the way, pleaded not guilty to those charges, denies all the accusations made in the various lawsuits, Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee have been going back and forth with lots of motions filed, complaints filed, and accusations flying on both ends. The Jane Doe alleging she was raped by Diddy and Jay-Z went on NBC, where they pointed out consistencies in her account of what happened, including that her father picked her up after the alleged rape. Her father later told NBC he didn't recall that. She claimed she spoke to a celebrity there, but that celeb wasn't even in New York at that time. And photos showed Diddy and Jay-Z at different locations than the Jane Doe described. Now, that interview happened in mid-December. By the end of that month, Jay-Z sued Buzbee for defamation and extortion. Jay-Z's legal team has also been proceed anonymously for now, but scolded Jay-Z's attorneys for their combative motions and inflammatory language used against Tony Buzbee. Then in January, a legal petition was filed.
Hold up, that's a wild ass picture right here. Why do they try to do my nigga Jay like that? Why do they do that? That's crazy. This picture is crazy. You got Russell Simmons, Diddy. That's a crazy picture, man. That's a crazy picture. All right, we're going to keep moving. That's crazy.
And inflammatory language used against Tony Buzbee. Then in January, a legal petition was filed by a Texas man who is represented by Tony Buzbee, who also accused Jay-Z's lawyers of bribing people to sue Buzbee and his law firm. So a lot's happened. Now, in a surprising move, Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro is seemingly softening up on Buzbee. In a letter to Judge Annalisa Torres, the same one who previously scolded him, Spiro wrote, quote, "Dear Judge Torres, we write on behalf of defendant Sean Carter to respectfully request that Mr. Carter's motion for sanctions pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11 be withdrawn at this time without prejudice. We have discussed asked the court to impose sanctions against Buzbee for allegedly failing to do a reasonable investigation before filing the rape allegations against him. Jay-Z's lawyer even pointed out that Buzbee admitted to not even meeting Jane Doe before he signed off on her complaint. But Buzbee maintains the case was appropriately vetted. So while the move from Jay-Z's lawyers was surprising, it might also be a part of their strategy. At this time, neither Jay-Z, his legal team, or Tony Buzbee have publicly responded to this surprising move. But it's likely not the end of this ongoing legal saga, and we could hear more very soon. Let's unpack this further with attorney and litigator Rich Schoenstein. Rich, always great to see you. What's your reaction to this move done by Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro? Are you surprised that he asked the judge to drop the motion for sanctioning Tony Buzbee?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised because, asking for sanctions is a pretty aggressive move. And so to turn around and withdraw that motion is a notable retreat from that move. So I wasn't expecting it. And the question is, why did they do it?
That part important.
Well, without prejudice just means they could bring it again. So you can either withdraw a motion with prejudice, which means it's resolved and we can't bring it again, or without prejudice, which means the court doesn't have to deal with this now, but we're not waiving our rights. We're going to save the right to bring the motion again at a later time.
And, as you just mentioned before, I guess we're going to get into, why was this move even done in the first place? Now, Jay-Z's lawyer was previously scolded by that same judge for using inflammatory language against Tony Buzbee. But do you think that this is a part of a new strategy not to be harsh on the Jane Doe lawyer, instead hope to just get this suit dismissed instead?
Possibly. So that first thing you mentioned about the judge's reaction, I have three theories about why this was withdrawn. And the first one is exactly what you said. The judge has already indicated on the record that she's not thrilled with the way the attorneys are going at each other in this. And no, they don't like each other all the time. They accuse each other of bad stuff all the time. And no judge wants the case to be about that. The judge wants the case to be about the merits, about the claims, about the parties, not about the lawyers. So she dressed down the lawyers at one point about this kind of activity. And it's possible that they have withdrawn the motion because they just don't think the judge is going to really consider it, given her predisposition. That's one possibility.
Okay.
And what's your other possibility?
Well, I have two other possibilities, and there could be a mix of the three. The second possibility that occurred to me is, for some reason, the people who brought the motion, and that's the Quinn Emanuel firm, no longer think the motion is that strong. It's possible they've evaluated things. It's possible, they were claiming that the plaintiffs didn't vet the claims enough and made representations the complaint are not so demonstrably false that you could prevail on a motion for sanctions. Remember, a motion for sanctions is really hard to win on. I mean, they're very infrequently granted, especially in a contentious case like this. So I wouldn't have expected it to be granted anyway. So the second possibility is that Quinn Emanuel just decided it's not the best motion. It's not our best. We have a separate motion to dismiss the complaint against our client. That's the motion that we want to see through. That's the motion we want the judge to focus on. We want her to focus on the merits and dismiss the claims against our client. We don't care about the sanction stuff. We're going to get it go. And my third theory, which I have no basis for other than sheer speculation, I want to say that up front, is that there's some kind of deal here between the lawyers. The lawyers manuals, gone after Buzbee and accused him of trying to drum up clients to bring claims against Combs and against Jay-Z. And maybe the attorneys have reached some sort of understanding about the ground rules. Maybe not, but maybe they have, and letting this motion go is part of that understanding. That would be my third possible reason.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned that it's speculation, but I think by you kind of explaining that, I feel like that might also be very plausible. I want to go back to what you said during kind of your second explanation, where I'm sure Jay-Z from his side, he probably wants this lawsuit just to be, or this complaint to be dismissed, or not even amended in the first place, made in the first place. Obviously, nothing goes away in the blink of an eye, excuse me. But in your opinion, watching all of this legal back and forth that's been unfolding these past few months, do you think there is enough to dismiss, or do you think at a point this will even get litigated?
Motion to dismiss.
Okay.
So I don't have a advanced opinion about it, but my reaction to it is that the complaint accuses him of some very bad stuff, and that ought to be enough to move the case forward. That's my guess. Now, remember, at the outset of these litigations, we go through kind of a honing phase where the dispute is sort of narrowed down to certain parties and certain claims. And sometimes the motion to dismiss doesn't get rid of the case entirely, but it gets rid of some of the claims, or it gets rid of some of the parties. I see today, by way of example, there's a brand new filing dismissing defendant Bad Boy Records, LLC. There were separate claims against that company, and I don't know where all these companies fit in the pantheon of Bad Boy Records. Claims have to be sorted out, and then the case can proceed with discovery.
And we do want to mention to our
Nah, this is crazy because I wish that Jay-Z could just pay this off, but we saw how that went. You know what I mean? That went left when Diddy just paid it off. Everybody gonna come out the woodwork and attack you at that point. So it's like, damn, now you got to go through all this extraness. And like from the information that's been out here, it just seems false. It just seems really bad, like bad information. And I'm still like, who is this woman? Is it Cassie or is it Beyonce?
viewers there that even though Bad Boy Records was dismissed off that complaint, Sean Carter and Sean Combs are both still named there. I also want to talk to you, Rich, about a point that Jay-Z's lawyer made previously, and that was that Tony Buzbee never even met with this Jane Doe, despite saying in that press conference.
Buzbee, or certainly somebody from Buzbee's office, should be meeting with these plaintiffs before bringing claims. I mean, you should always meet with your client before you go charging into court with a claim, but all the more so when they're salacious, provocative, inflammatory claims like the ones in this case. You do have an obligation to make sure there's a good faith basis for proceeding with the claims. You have to make sure there aren't any red flags that would indicate the claim is false or being concocted, just to extort the parties. You have to do some due diligence. And Buzbee runs a big firm, and he says he has 120 or so, that was the last number I heard, clients who are potentially bringing claims here. So I'm not saying he had to meet personally with her, but certainly somebody at his firm should have. And I don't know if that happened or not. But
Zoom calls.
if they didn't, I would think they had a little explaining to do.
And do you think it was overly ambitious for him to tout that he was filing 120 lawsuits against Diddy with these big names attached when really that number was lesser than that? And the only big name that he had added to these various complaints was Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Will ever hear about that. He was trying to generate clients and evidence. So he went public and said, you know, I'm the guy. If you now, having heard what the world has heard about Sean Combs, if you now have a claim against him that you want to pursue, I'm the best position to do it because I'm doing the work. I have all these clients. So if you have a claim or if you have evidence or you know somebody else who is at those parties that there should be claims against, come to my firm and talk to me. That was just a long-winded attorney advertisement. And I think that's one of the issues the defense lawyers have with him is that he's sort of been doing, you know, self-promotion and attorney advertising in the midst of litigating the case. And sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two. So I don't know how many clients he actually has. You are correct. The number of lawsuits, 120. Again, I have no idea if that's true, but that could be one explanation as to why there are 120 clients and less than 20 lawsuits.
Yeah, because I even think Jay-Z was kind of making that point when he issued that scathing statement, kind of saying that, alleging that Tony Buzbee just wanted money out of him to make this all go away. He obviously didn't pay it, said he wouldn't pay it. And then that's kind of how we ended up here a little bit. My final question to you, Rich, is, you know, going back to Alex Spiro asking the judge to dismiss the motion for sanctions against Tony Buzbee, which the judge did grant. Where does Diddy fit into all of this? His trial is nearing. It's in a couple months. If this particular suit or complaint, I should say, continues to go forward during his trial, does that mean anything for Diddy?
So the complaint, I mean, the case can't really go forward that far while there's pending criminal proceedings against Sean Combs. In fact, it's common for a defendant who is subject to criminal and civil for a deposition and civil proceeding while he has a criminal proceeding going on and he has his right against self-incrimination, right? He doesn't have to testify, so he can't be forced yet to testify in the civil proceeding. And also he's in jail, so I don't even know how you would do it. So as a whole, the civil case can't possibly get to trial. It can't even get deep into discovery until those criminal proceedings are done.
Wow. Well, it's going to be a wait and see game. Again, Diddy's trial beginning in May at this time. So we'll have to wait and see how this all continues to unfold. Rich, always great seeing you. Always glad for you to join us here. And thank you so much for your insight into this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I love talking to you about these cases, especially civil litigation. Hooray. Take care.
Thanks, Rich. And again, Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, has denied the allegations made against him. Meanwhile, Sean Combs, aka Diddy, also denied the allegations made against
Yeah, that's different. All right, man. So he can't even really go to court until. So all this is kind of like stupid, kind of sort of, because you really can't go to court until all this is resolved with Diddy's case. So like we just doing all this we just going through the motions. Really, we just really going through the motions. There's really no point. Evidence looks like Jay-Z's innocent from my perspective. I'm not privy to all the evidence, but from what I've seen, it looks like he's innocent. Seems like the girl's lying. Dad already said he don't remember it, even though he supposedly picked her up. She had to go to a gas station. I've already heard somebody say that there's only like a couple of gas stations in the area that she was in, and you would have to actually know where you have to, know where you're going to actually get to those. Along with it's blocks away, like very, very far away from where she ended up. and then she's 13, going all the way to New York. Like it just sounds bad. Like it's just bad parenting. If that is the case, yo, that's wild if that's the case. But anyway, I don't have all the answers. We just gonna keep watching and see what's going on. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Giftsforyounow.com. Link is in the description. We will be back with another one. We are back with another one. We out.